Hey, I'm your host, Melissa, and I want to welcome you to Not Your Average Blonde podcast. I'm here to show you how to elevate your life to become the best version of yourself. I want to take you along your journey to be anything but average and step into your confidence era. Join me each week by subscribing and listening to Not Your Average Blonde podcast, and let's begin our journey to become anything but average. There was a moment just a few weeks ago where I found myself sitting on my bathroom floor, just completely overwhelmed. My heart was racing, my body was exhausted, and the weight of a medical diagnosis weighed heavy. It was a diagnosis that I did not ask for, and it felt like it cracked something open inside of me. This wasn't the first time in my life that I had been here before. One of those moments where life just knocks the wind out of me, but this time it felt different. It felt heavier, yet somehow, even in the middle of that spiral, an inner thought told me, "You've been here before, you know how to rebuild." That's what today's episode is about, the moments that break you open and how to find your way back to yourself again. It's about emotional resilience and how we can cultivate it, not just to survive life's storms, but to grow them. We've all had those moments where the world is spinning faster than you can keep up, like you're just trying to breathe between the chaos. And you are not alone. Because emotional resilience is more critical now than ever. We live in such a fast-paced world that has media, news events in our faces all the time. World events seem unpredictable, but not only that, life's events can be unpredictable. It can be getting hit with a divorce, health issues, a family member or a close friend dying, losing a job, increased financial stressors. Look at the market right now. You name it. That list can go on. And now more than ever, it's crucial for us to develop emotional resilience. You're going to face challenges whether you expect them or not. And that's why building emotional resilience isn't just helpful, it's necessary. Thank you for joining me today. I am your host, Melissa, on Not Your Average Blonde podcast. I appreciate you tuning in and listening on this very important topic that is very dear to me. So, as I start to dive into this, I want to provide a baseline understanding of what emotional resilience is. According to the American Psychological Association, it defines resilience as a process and outcome of successfully adapting to difficult or challenging life experiences. Now, think about that. Being able to adapt to difficult or challenging life experiences. Like, who wouldn't want that? It's the ability to adapt to stressful situations, how to bounce back from adversity, and maintain a positive outlook, especially when facing and going through those difficulties. How cool is that? I think everyone should want it. I know I want it. But I want to stress that with this skill, it can be developed and strengthened over time. It's like a muscle. Resiliency, it's not just an innate trait. It is a skill that can be cultivated through intentional practice and mindset shifts. And that's what I'm excited to share with you about today. And one of the big points of my podcast. This is what I'm here for. I'm here to teach and help you to develop mindset shifts and cultivate these practices in your life. These are practices that are going to help you to be able to rebound when life gets tough, when life knocks you down on your ass. Guess what? Because you're going to get back up again. You're going to learn those skills to be able to get back and then be able to get back up faster. Mindset, it's a lifelong journey. Life doesn't get easier as you get older. It just throws more interesting challenges at you. When it comes down to your mindset, it's your mental attitude. That's what shapes and frames your self-perception and beliefs that you have about you and also about the world around you. It's built through holistic processes that include mental, emotional, and physical, well-being aspects of you. We are all interconnected beings, and it's crucial to incorporate aspects of both health and wellness to be able to build up your resiliency. So for the rest of this episode, I want to talk about a few different practices that bolster emotional resilience. How do you incorporate these practices into your life? I want you to start by thinking of emotional resilience like a muscle. Every time life throws a weight on your shoulders, you're building the strength. Even if it doesn't feel like it right away, it's a tool. It's a tool to be able to cultivate more mindfulness into your life. One of the tools that you can use is by cultivating more mindfulness in your life. Mindfulness is an incredibly powerful tool that we all have access to. It encompasses being present in the here and the now. You are aware of your thoughts and feelings without judgment. You develop a greater sense of self-awareness and emotional regulation, which are two critical components of resilience. There are many practices that you can incorporate to build mindfulness into your life, no matter how busy you are. I know some of you guys are insanely busy. You have new kids, you have a busy job, you're traveling, life is wild and crazy. And that's the thing I love with mindfulness, because it can literally be done in just a matter of seconds or minutes or hours, depending on how much time that you have, you can make it work with your schedule. And there are so many benefits that come with practicing mindfulness. Studies have shown that mindfulness practice, it reduces your stress, it improves your emotional regulation, and it enhances your well-being overall. When I was doing some research on this episode, I came across the Journal of Clinical Psychology and was reading that there are more studies that show that mindfulness practices can significantly reduce symptoms of anxiety and depression, which I think is absolutely crucial because, at least here in the United States, anxiety and depression is just off the charts. It's pretty terrible. And there's a lot of factors that we can talk about in another episode as to why that is, but there are things that you can do to help bolster your resilience against those things. Sometimes it's as simple as taking the time to slow down and be in the present moment significantly improves your mental health and your well-being. We are so connected in today's world, especially with like our phones. It's absolutely insane. But so much so that the concept of time has accelerated and has taken on like a whole new meaning than what it used to be in the past. We are constantly bombarded with work deadlines, social commitments, so many distractions, doom scrolling, social media. We lose sight of how important it is to take a few minutes or time out of our day to focus on our well-being. What would your life feel like if you gave yourself even just 10 minutes a day to slow down, to breathe? You deserve that kind of presence. I want you to try something for me. So tomorrow morning, instead of like getting up and rushing into your day, set your alarm for maybe 5 or 10 minutes earlier and set that time aside when it's quiet in the morning before you get into the chaos of everything for introspection. I want you to slow down, disconnect with the world for a bit. Have you ever just sat with a cup of coffee and really noticed how it tastes? Like, when was the last time you did that? That's mindset in its simplest, and I would argue one of the purest forms that you can get. A cup of coffee in the morning, that's what does it for me. I fucking love mornings, especially like when I'm on vacation, and I try to incorporate this practice in like my own home life, but I love having a cup of coffee in the morning. It sounds counterintuitive with the caffeine, but one of my favorite mindfulness practices is to have a slow morning with my cup of coffee. I love to go sit outside, take in my environment, soak up the vitamin D from the sun, and just listen to the birds around me. Sometimes I'll journal, maybe read, depending on like how much time I have. And even if it's just like 15 minutes, 10, 15 minutes can make such a huge difference. But what it boils down to is it's the deliberate act of slowing down and being in the present. Ideally, like I said, outside, get that sun, really put yourself in a place where you can just check in with your environment. And hopefully it's a calm and relaxing environment where you can start off your morning by checking in on yourself and your surroundings. It's amazing. I highly recommend it. And this is one of those practices I try to build in whenever I'm on vacation in the mornings, just to help me kind of like recover from like burnout and stuff. But then at home, this is how I typically will spend like my weekends, like my Saturday and Sunday mornings. Like, it's absolutely glorious, especially in the springtime or the fall when the weather is super nice. It's not hot. It's not muggy or humid. It's not too cold. It's just like the perfect temperature outside where I can just slow down and just soak in like that morning. Other things that you can do is pursuing hobbies that help to ground you. You can start a meditation practice, breath work. I absolutely love breath work. There's so many different breathing exercises that you can look up online or YouTube, and it can guide you through like a quick breathing and mindset exercise. Like, it's absolutely great. You can also journal. Start incorporating like a journal practice into your life. I'm trying to do that right now, especially as I'm navigating these health things. I'm trying to add journaling into my routine. Some days it's easier than others. It's a practice I'm trying to build, but I'm trying to expand more of my mindfulness exercises through journaling and getting more in tune like with myself and what I'm feeling and processing like those feelings. When you incorporate those mindfulness exercises, it forces you to slow down. And that's one of the more critical things, is it forces you to slow down and to give you that space to be able to check in with yourself. You can do this, like I said, journaling, meditation, breath work, cup of coffee. You can even do it while you're eating. When's the last time that you sat down and just really enjoyed the meal? You slowed down, you chewed properly, you took your time and just enjoyed the meal. We don't do that often here in the States. It's insane. Like, rarely do we slow down and just enjoy a meal. That's one aspect I miss with living overseas, like in Europe or like the Middle East, is so much happens around mealtime, and mealtime is deliberately built in to like slow down from the day and to connect with other people, and you enjoy the food. Like, it's amazing. I love how some cultures have incorporated that in their way of life. And I think that's a practice that, we can incorporate here. And I wish we had it more in like our society as a culture, but that's a practice that you can incorporate on your own. You can incorporate mindfulness into your routine by, like I said, something as simple as taking deep breaths. I love breath work, and there are so many methods out there that really help you to slow down and check in with yourself. It lowers your stress, it centers your mind, and it's calming. And overall, like these small habits that you incorporate, they culminate over time and it builds your overall, these small habits culminate over time. It builds a more resilient mindset over that span of time, little by little. Another practice is exercising self compassion. This is a practice that I've noticed many people struggle with. It's so easy to get caught in the small negativities, like towards yourself, such as like your narrative. How often do you hear one of your friends or even yourself make the comment about like how stupid they are or how stupid you are, or you make disparaging remarks towards like themselves or towards yourself and others? It's so common and it's sad to hear. And it's things like that was stupid, or why did I make that mistake, or I'm fat, or whatever negative comment directed at yourself. Like, why would you do that? It's not good for you. It's not healthy. You need to flip that internal narrative. The Journal of Personality and Social Psychology suggests that people who practice self-compassion demonstrate greater emotional resilience. They have lower levels of anxiety and depression and improved overall well-being. Who would have thought that speaking nice to yourself and being kind and exercising grace towards yourself is going to help lower anxiety, depression, cortisol? It's going to improve your well-being. Like, who would have thought? Now, I want you to think about your closest friend. If they were struggling, would you criticize them? Fuck no. You'd show up with kindness and support. You'd encourage them. You'd lift them up. Why not do that to yourself? Why is it so hard to give that same compassion to yourself? If you've been hard on yourself lately, I want you to pause right now and breathe. You are doing the best you can, and that's enough. I want you to think of one thing about yourself that you are grateful for. When you exercise self-compassion, you are acknowledging your struggles without harsh self-judgment. And this fosters a more resilient mindset. Slight tangent here, but I fully believe in the concept of what you say comes true, or also known as the concept of self-fulfilling prophecy. This is where your beliefs and expectations and things you say influence your actions and interactions. This leads to outcomes that align with those beliefs. It can be as simple as flippant of like, I'm so fat, or I'm going to fail this test. When you say things like that to yourself, you subconsciously believe that it will happen or that you are that. You will act in ways, maybe subtle, that are going to make the likelihood of what you tell yourself happen. For example, if you tell yourself that you're going to fail a test, you may study less or become anxious, which is going to hurt your memory and ultimately leading to a lower grade. On the flip side, when you focus on positive outcomes and believe in your ability, you are going to succeed. You're going to see better results. Good things are going to come to you. If you're someone who's been beating yourself up lately, this is your reminder. You deserve compassion too. When you incorporate self-compassion and grace towards yourself into your daily practices, you are acknowledging your struggles without harsh self-judgment. How you do this is through reframing your narrative. If you can catch yourself thinking or saying negative things, first stop it, and the next flip the narrative. I will do that with myself. Like if I catch myself going down like a negative road, I will immediately like stop myself and reframe that narrative script. And over time, I have found that like I no longer get caught in that negative script. I give myself grace. I give myself patience like with that. I'm still trying and doing the best that I can. But in those areas that like I fail or I stumble, I give myself grace and kindness with that. And I have flipped that narrative. So it's more positive. And I have found over time, over years, that my narrative, my internal narrative is much more positive than what it used to be. I also will do that if I notice friends. If you have had some friends that are like, oh, like I'm so fat, or just something derogatory towards themselves, like I will tell them to stop that negative shit. Think of something positive. Like you were not that thing. That thing does not define you like what you're telling yourself. Unless you want it to. If you want to live in misery and go down that road, then like, fuck it. Turn this podcast off now and go live in your own miserable world. But I am here to help you to break that routine, to break that habit, to flip that narrative. Other ways you can do it is through journaling and take that moment and acknowledge your efforts. You can acknowledge it through the word, by writing it down. For me, I will verbally acknowledge it or internally verbally acknowledge it and flip that narrative. Which brings me to my next topic of developing positive thinking patterns. Like I already started to talk about, positive thinking is such a powerful tool for building emotional resilience. You develop the practice of consciously choosing to focus on the positive aspects of a situation. Like right now, I'm going through like all this medical stuff, and there's some days and some moments where I really just want to get caught up in all the negativity that is surrounding it and just go into like that depressive dark hole. And have a pessimistic perspective about my future. Now, I know that that's not true. I know that I still have a very bright future ahead of me, and there's a lot of potential, and there are still a lot of good things coming. If there wasn't, I wouldn't be alive today. My life story would have ended, a while ago. But I do believe the fact that I am still here, I'm still able to give you this message. I believe that there are still good things in store for me. There's still positivity and goodness that are out there. And through this medical stuff, right now, I've had to really slow down my life, and I've had to be very deliberate with how I spend my days and what I put my time and my energy towards, because those are very finite things for me right now, and I'm still fragile. But I'm looking at this as an opportunity to slow down, and I'm really checking in with myself, my mind, body, spirit. I'm engaging in practices that bolster those things. So on the days that I can go outside and walk, I will take my dog out and we will go for a short walk, and I will appreciate the beauty in the world that's around me. Take in my environment, take in, the quality time that I'm getting with my dog. Take in the beautiful spring day and acknowledge the gratitude for the fact that hey, I can walk today and I'm not in a ton of pain while walking right now. It's like I said, it's maintaining the optimistic outlook and the gratitude for the here and now. Gratitude has been a practice I have recently incorporated while I'm navigating all this stuff on gratitude exercises. I have both a journaling practice and a verbal gratitude exercise that I incorporate daily. For the journal, I will sit down. I bought a new notebook for this time, and I will focus on a couple minutes each day. It's not very long. Like I said, I'm really struggling with journaling, but I will give it a few minutes each day, and I will write down the things that I'm grateful for. And it can be as simple as, I am grateful for how the sun felt in my skin earlier. I am grateful that my pain today is not as bad as my pain yesterday. I am grateful for that phone call that my friend gave me out of the blue and that ability to be able to connect. Whatever it is, take that time, write it down. You can also do voice notes. I have another friend who I will send voice note to, and I'll rattle off hey, here are three things I'm grateful for. Boom, boom, boom. What are you grateful for today? You can try that. It only takes a few seconds. And like I said, shoot it over in a voice note. It's so quick and so easy. I can do it on the go. So I want you to think what is one thing, just one, that made you smile today? Start there. That's how you begin to shift your entire mindset. I have noticed a more positive outlook with my current circumstances when I have taken those moments to reflect and acknowledge the gratitude that I have. I try to find new things each day as well. I'm finding with this practice that I'm seeing the positives in this cloudy period of my life. I've had quite a lot of shit happen throughout all different phases of my life. My 20s, my God, my 20s were such a fucking train wreck between divorce. School was so hard. I was socially awkward. I was such a different person. I was very insecure. It was just a rough period of life. And during that time frame, I really recognized just how powerful all of these things are. I recognized early that I can either choose to use these negative experiences as an excuse to be jaded in life and cruel towards other people. And I know you know what I'm talking about. There are so many people out there that choose to allow the negative things that have happened to them, and they choose to allow that to dictate their attitude and their mindset towards life. And also they choose that mindset to dictate how they treat other people in their life. And they tend to treat other people very poorly. I can't fucking stand that. Or B, you can reframe that narrative. For me, I reframe that narrative and use those examples of what I don't want to become, or how to not act towards other people, and to focus on the good and positive things in my life, and to choose to build a good life for myself. I choose to not wallow in that pain and hurt. Instead, I choose to okay, how can I work through this pain? How can I heal this hurt? How can I keep from becoming jaded? How can I still be kind and compassionate towards my fellow mankind? Because guess what? Karma is real, and karma can be a bitch sometimes. I fully believe that you get back the energy that you put out. Life, it's going to hand you your ass one way or another. I've learned that optimism is absolutely invaluable, and I'd much rather be optimistic than pessimistic. When you are rooted in optimism, you have a firm belief in a positive future, and you attract those positive things into your life. Now, don't get me wrong. I'm not telling you to ignore when life gets difficult. Right now, it'd be so easy for me to wallow in the extremes of the emotions I've been experiencing and the pain that I've had. But when those negative emotions come up, and they're pretty raw, they are really raw and they hit hard sometimes. But I've chosen to be able to take those moments, allow the emotions to wash over me and to feel, and then process them. I acknowledge, I validate in that moment that this is how I feel. But I also tell myself that this is not going to last forever. There's always going to be light at the end of the tunnel, and it is always going to end. So the critical thing is here, I've chosen to not wallow in those emotions. I validate them, but I have to consciously choose to pull myself up and exercise a positive mindset. I have chosen to have a constructive mindset with how I've navigated some of the challenges that I've had in my life. It's the same thing too with my divorce or when I failed a test, in college. If I am really struggling on my own, I will sometimes call a friend or a family member if I'm struggling, and someone that I know I can rely on that can help kind of pull me out of that dark place. But the big focus is I choose to focus on shifting my perspective. And you can do the same. Focus on the positive aspects or solution if it's a problem that needs solving. The key is don't dwell in the negative space. Feel, process, but don't linger and wallow. What really helps, and I just touched on this, is incorporating, your social connections. Now, this one can be really hard. I know, especially here in the US, there are so many people that are isolated. Like, I live in Oklahoma right now. I'm not from here. Most of my friends don't live here, and my family doesn't live here either. It's a very close-knit community, but it's not very inclusive of outsiders. And I'm an outsider. I'm only here for work. And this has made it very difficult for me to be able to build a strong social community around me. This is one aspect that I really miss about living in Europe or the Middle East. So I spent my teenage years, I lived in Germany, and then early adulthood, middle adulthood, like in my mid-20s, I lived over in the Middle East. And I've traveled there, have been there back and forth like several times since then. I absolutely love Europe, especially the Mediterranean and the Middle East. But one big thing I noticed is when I lived overseas, even as an outsider, it was much easier to have strong connections. This is one aspect of life that here in the US, it's missing. And one of the reasons why I think the US struggles with so many mental health issues. There's not much of a sense of community anymore. And there's a lot of isolation. Like our culture just does not place value on that anymore. And you can see it in look at our social spaces. It's crazy. Like I absolutely love in Spain because you can go everywhere and see people meeting up for coffee or for lunch or for dinner. Dinner is such a big deal over there. Another thing too, in the Middle East is when you go meet with someone, whether it's a friend or a business deal or you're out shopping, it's insane how many times I would have shopkeepers that are like, let's have tea or let me order some food and order pita and hummus, or just something like that. But you take that time and you slow down and you connect over a meal or a drink, and you really get to know someone kind of more on a personal level, and you have that connection. There have been so many times when even though I was a stranger, I didn't feel like a stranger. I was welcomed in, I was a friend or a family member. And I really, really miss connections like that and that part of the world that places value and emphasis on having that sense of community, on having that sense of connection. It really is that essence of life. It's that cornerstone. Having that sense of community, it's the cornerstone of strong social connections. And this is crucial for emotional resiliency. I really learned a lot about resiliency during my time in the Middle East, which the Middle East can absolutely be such a beautiful region. It really gets a bad rap here, in the West. There are negative aspects of it. No, don't get me wrong. I'm not turning a blind eye to some of the negative aspects of it. But there is a lot of beauty that is within the culture and the resiliency that exists there. A large part of the resiliency, the reason why it's there is because of the only way people get through some of the traumas and experiences that they've had there is by having that community. That community is what helps them to be able to be more resilient. And it has taught them how to just enjoy and embrace the simple nuances of everyday life. There are some cultures there, like in Israel, for example. I learned a ton about resiliency in Israel. You'd have an event happen, like a terror attack or something. People would get killed, but then the next day you'd have people back out enjoying that cafe or enjoying the street where this event just happened, because people get back out there, they're connecting with each other, but they understand that all right, this may be a part of life, but I'm not going to let this stop me from experiencing life, from experiencing those good things in life and experiencing those things that bring joy and that bring people together, because they don't know if tomorrow is going to be there. And that same mindset, I've experienced it all over parts of the Middle East, and I find a lot of beauty in that perspective, is that value in social connection. That sense of belonging, it's so crucial during those challenging times. That community, it gives you benefits ranging from emotional support, assistance, and like I said, a sense of belonging. I know when I'm fighting depression, one of the biggest facets that like I feel is the lack of sense of belonging. It's hard and it hurts and that wound cuts deep. And it's a hard one, especially here in the United States to rectify. You're not alone. And there is a community out there and there are people out there who do value you, who do love you. I want you to think for a second, who are your people? Who are the ones that you can call when life gets hard? And if you don't have that yet, how can you start building it? Even one meaningful connection can change everything. Go sign up for an art class. Go sign up for a workout class. Go sign up, like right now, like Mahjong is super popular in the community right now. Like go sign up for a Mahjong class and go out and go build and foster your connections. When you go out and do those things, you're further strengthening and sustaining emotional resilience. I was reading in the Journal of Health and Social Behavior, and it was reporting that people with strong social connections, they have better health outcomes, lower stress levels, and a greater emotional resilience. Strong social connections are associated with an increased happiness, better health, and a longer life. How cool is that to have an edifying and fulfilling life? Like you would want life to be longer if you have those elements in it. You look at the list of countries that are happiest in the world, and one of the contributing factors is a sense of community. I've noticed that cultures who enjoy life, foster social connection in everyday life, like they do have a greater sense of like happiness. I absolutely love that aspect of life. And like I'd already mentioned earlier, I really notice it and I love embracing it when I'm traveling or living overseas. I admire and I enjoy being part of those communities that value that. The Mediterranean is fantastic. If you are intimidated to travel, like start with the Mediterranean. There is so much emphasis and value that's placed on social connections. It's absolutely amazing. And people are willing to share that with you. Even if you're just a stranger, they are so willing to share that with you and to welcome you in and wrap you up in their culture and to bring you into the community and the fold. I miss it so much. And I can't wait to be able to experience it again. For me, along like my healing of like, for me, along my journey of healing. So in my 20s, I got divorced and I moved to the Middle East. My parents thought I was absolutely like fucking crazy, but just the stars aligned, everything worked out, and I did it. Part of it was I had reached such a point of like depression and unease and didn't know who I was. And it was wild. I was so lost at that time period, like in my life. Man, I was so lost that I was like, I don't have anything to lose. You know what? Fuck it. Like, I'm just going to go. Like, things are lining up. It worked out. Like, got paid for. I'm just going to go and do this. And it was probably one of the best decisions I ever made in my life. It was so life impacting. The people that I met and the cultures I got to experience. And it really taught me how to fall in love with life again. I learned so much about resilience and connection, healing of the human spirit through the people and the culture. And even strangers that I just like barely met taught me so much about the human spirit and helped me to heal so much. I miss it. And I look back and I'm incredibly fond of like that time period of my life because it was such a critical phase of healing that like I needed to do coming out of like my divorce. And then I had a bunch of events that happened that had a lot of betrayal. I lost a lot of friends and it was just the perfect storm of things. And it was so painful, but it left me such a shell of a person. And I was so insecure and I didn't know who I was, but I met strangers across the world who really brought me in and showed me, you know, the beauty of life and showed me the beauty of the world again. And with their cultures and the environments that they were in, whether it was the Alps in southern Germany and Austria to, you know, breaking bread with shopkeepers on the streets of Jerusalem or having tea over in the Persian Gulf and some of the GCC countries like Qatar or the UAE or, you know, the Mediterranean, sharing a meal with people in Sicily. It was just such an amazing time of my life. And I learned so much from each of these connections. And they taught me so much about like the world and myself and just the human experience and just how beautiful that it really can be. It's amazing how simple that just by simply being present for others, how much it can strengthen you, not only in your like your social network, but it really builds your emotional resilience and your enjoyment of life. And I've learned that like a lot of these skills, they're effective for helping you to master stress management. By building emotional resiliency, it just absolutely requires effective stress management, which I know is so difficult. I struggle with this so much, especially with work here in the United States. My work is a cesspool of people who are addicted to constant stress. Like it's insane. They just like feed off of it, which I get it. It can be, you get that dopamine hit, but man, it comes at such a toll, such a deep price, mentally, physically, emotionally, and it drives me insane sometimes. I can't wait for the day when I'm done and I can leave and I can continue to build and cultivate a life that aligns more with like who I am and the life that I want to build. The stressful environment, it's incredibly toxic, both for the individual, but then also seeing how people like weaponize stress. People use it against each other and as a form of control. And it's really sad and disgusting to see. And so now here, this culture of this, I see it not only just like in my job, but in quite a bit of just the culture that we have here in the US is we live a very high stress life and people feed off of that. Managing that stress is absolutely crucial to building that emotional resilience. Too much stress is so bad for you. So it's even more important now than ever to learn how to manage stress. You can manage stress by learning and practicing stress reduction techniques. When you know how to effectively manage your stress, you can better cope with life's challenges and maintain emotional equilibrium. It's impossible to live life completely stress-free. But by mastering critical skills, you will be able to respond to stressors more calmly and constructively. And it can be done. Even in our society here with as high stress as it is, you can start building and incorporating like those skills to be able to manage your stress. Build in regular practices of relaxation. The Journal of Clinical Psychology found that through regular practices of muscle relaxation, you can significantly reduce symptoms of anxiety and stress. And this can be taking moments, just a few minutes of your day, just to breathe. It can be going and getting a massage, scheduling regular vacations and time off, which is very difficult to do because we don't get much time off here in the US, but building those times like into your life to allow you to be able to relax and step back away from that stress. When you incorporate relaxation, you're better able to physically and emotionally respond to those stressors. You cultivate the opposite of the fight or flight response, which so many people thrive off of. And you do get caught in that cycle of fight or flight. It's tough on the body. It is really difficult. So what are some daily stress management practices that you can incorporate in your life? I love deep breathing exercises. Breath work is amazing. You can Google it. You can YouTube it. It only takes a few minutes. And even like at work, sometimes I'll do that. I'll just take 30 seconds and go through like a deep breathing exercise just to help myself be recentered, focus on myself, lower my heart rate, and just be present for a moment, and then move on to like my next task or meeting or presentation or whatever it is. Other ways you can incorporate it is exercise. Working out is phenomenal. I absolutely love working out because it helps me to be able to focus on that time for me. It focuses my mind and it gets me in tune like with my body and how I'm feeling. You can also incorporate hobbies that help you to relax and recharge. Start painting, pick up, cooking, whatever it may be. Add in elements of those hobbies into your life to help you to be able to relax and give you that space. Like I said, for me, I love working out and I built a few hobbies into my life that helped ground me. For working out, I love lifting. I love cardio, like running or walking, extra benefits if it's outside, and Pilates. I absolutely love Pilates. Hobbies, I've started getting more into art like painting, which has been so cool to explore, especially right now. Painting has been incredibly grounding for me, and it's also exercising like my mind and helping me to be able to process the emotions that like I'm dealing with as I'm going through this medical stuff. It helps me to get in tune like with myself. I'm also finding it to be relaxing, which is really cool because I've never have been the artistic or like the creative type, but yet like here we are. Another one is this podcast for me. I hope to develop this podcast into more than just a hobby, but I really do enjoy a lot of aspects of podcasting, from researching the different topics I want to talk to you about. It also helps me to be able to write down the thoughts that I have and like the beliefs that I have that I want to share with you and to be able to build the framework of each episode. I also enjoy recording my message each week for you. It's really cool. It's like, honestly, especially right now after the stroke, it's a form of speech therapy, which is really neat. It's a bit of a pain in the ass to edit out, I'll be honest, but it has been very good and has been very healing. It also helps me to kind of maintain a sense of normalcy after going through what I've gone through, which has been really neat. So all of these practices, they have become crucial parts of self-care for me. And self-care is the next aspect that I want to share and teach you. Self-care, it's an essential element of emotional resilience. A lot of recommendations I've shared with you in this episode are taking deliberate actions to cultivate your emotional well-being, your mental, and your physical health. When you have practices of self-care built into your life, you're building a strong foundation for resilience. You're building a positive mindset that helps you to navigate when life kicks your ass. You're building those practices that will help you to maintain that positive outlook. I want you to take a moment right now and think about what self-care practices do you currently have in your life? What practices would you like to incorporate more of? What self-care practices can you build into your life each day right now? Self-care is not selfish in any regard. I hate it when I hear people use that excuse of like, oh, I got to take care of this, or I got to do that, or I need to put this person on, or blah, 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 blah. The excuses are endless. You can always make an excuse for everything. That's easy. Doing the work is the hard stuff. When it comes to self-care, it's like the oxygen on an airplane concept. You need to put your own mask on first before helping others. Self-care is that critical component in maintaining your emotional resilience. Because if you're not able to take care of yourself, you're not going to be able to take care of others. Your ability to be able to support others is going to take a hit. Like I said, I can't tell you how many people, especially mothers I've met, who have the mindset that they have to place service to others above themselves. They get burned out and they end up becoming resentful of their partner or their kids. I've seen it so many times, and it's really sad. Often comes with the excuse that they don't have the time. The thing is, like, if you don't have the time or if you don't make the time, it's going to come back and pay. Like, it's going to get its pound of flesh out of you anyway. The lack of time is probably the biggest excuse that I have heard for why people neglect self-care. And self-care doesn't have to be time-consuming or expensive, though. You can add in simple activities that range from a minute or two to longer periods of time, like an hour. Simple activities like breathing exercises, going for a walk, getting lymphatic drainage massage, or simply enjoying a cup of tea or coffee are things that can contribute to your emotional resilience. So to kind of wrap up everything, the pursuit of improving yourself and pursuing a healthy lifestyle, it's as much of an inward journey as an external one. The state of your mind plays an equally pivotal role in determining your overall well-being. And building emotional resiliency, it's a journey. It's a process. It's going to require consistent effort and practice. But little by little each day, by incorporating aspects of what I covered with you today, you can start to enhance your skills to navigate life. Rome was not built in a day, and neither are you. It was built one brick at a time, and same goes for you. Start little by little. This isn't just about surviving tough times. You are not avoiding the difficult challenges in life or running away from negative emotions. This is about you becoming stronger, wiser, and more grounded than before. You are developing skills and a mindset to bounce back stronger and faster from those tough times. You will have the ability to pull lessons from those experiences and foster hope and optimism in life. You're not here just to survive hard things. You're here to grow through them and become unshakably resilient. Thank you so much for joining me today on Not Your Average Blonde podcast and for committing to investing to become the best version of yourself. Remember to exercise patience and love towards yourself. Emotional resilience, it's a lifelong journey, and every step you take helps bring you closer to building a better part and a more fulfilled life. If today's message resonated with you, please like and subscribe. I appreciate it so much when you do. I'm trying to expand my base and get more of my message out there. Share with a friend or social media. I'm on, you name it, Spotify, Instagram, YouTube, Apple. I'm on X now even. I love to read your messages. Send me messages. Send me your feedback. Tell me what you were doing to incorporate more resilience into your life. Like, what are some of those self-care items? Actually, give me, what's your favorite form of self-care? Send that to me. DM it to me. I want to hear about it. And also send me other future topics that you want to hear and learn more about. Let me know your thoughts and have a fantastic day.